Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is not a recap. This is a Q&A. I asked you guys if you had any questions you've always wanted to ask or anything you've always wondered, or not even always, I don't know why I keep saying that. If you had anything that you were wondering, wanted to ask me, to leave me a question, and I will do a Q&A video. And you guys came through. I was slightly terrified. Nobody wanted to know anything, but no, you guys came through for me. So the reason I'm doing this as a whole separate video is because right now I have a bunch of questions and I want to be able to kind of elaborate on the answers. And I think it would have been too much to put at the end of a recap video. But in the future, if more questions kind of trickle in, I think maybe what I'll do is at the end of my recaps, I will just answer one or two questions. And we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I'm going to start with all the moving related questions because a lot of you wanted to know why I moved, why I chose where we moved to and stuff like that. So the first question is from Nancy P, and she asked, what prompted your move? So the move was something that my husband Chris and I had planned for years. When he retired, we were going to move to another part of the country, primarily someplace with better weather than Chicago, which is where both of us have lived our entire lives, is around the Chicago area, either in Chicago proper or suburbs around it. The last place that we lived, the place we moved from, was one of the western suburbs. We lived in Elmhurst. There was a meme that was going around, I don't know, a few years ago. And it was like this little cartoon that said, my face hurts. Why do I live somewhere where my face hurts? And it was completely relatable. Our winters were, I don't know, 5-6 months long. And there were plenty of months that either the sun didn't come out or it was so bitter cold that you would step outside and your skin just felt like needles were pricking it. So that was priority one. And then also, of course, things like safety and affordability, things like that. So we had been traveling to places that we thought would be possibilities for retirement. We went to Tucson, Arizona. We went to Austin, Texas. One of the criteria for me was that I kind of wanted to live where there were mountains nearby. Well, actually, I thought I wanted to live in the mountains, and that's because Illinois is such a flat state that to me, I thought it would feel like I was always on vacation, Last year, we took a 9-day trip where we spent 3 days in Greenville, 3 days in Asheville, and 3 days in Roanoke, Virginia. And we were going to make our decision from there. And I think we came back from that trip still not knowing. We had ruled out Asheville only because I think the cost of living had gotten to be too high there. And also, I thought I wanted to live in the mountains. And then I realized, oh no, I don't want to drive in the mountains. I was getting, most of you guys already know, I have some anxiety issues as it is. But every time my husband would drive, and he's perfectly good driver, it's not him, I had these visions that we were gonna go off a cliff, just go off the edge, particularly when the side that went way down the mountain was on the passenger side. Anyway, a couple of the houses we looked at, we were going up these little winding steep roads, and I'm like, I can't do that now. How am I going to do that when I'm 85 years old? No, I can't retire in the mountains. So that and the cost, we ruled out Asheville. But then I was really kind of torn between Roanoke and Greenville. So anyway, finally looking at houses for a long time, it ended up being that Greenville we thought was going to be the better fit for us. And as far as what prompted the move was that my husband retired. So it was time to do it. Vicky N asked, do you have children and did they move with you? Yes and no. I have one daughter. Her name is Jade, and she's 26 years old. She's going to be 27 this year, and she did not move with us. She went to college in New York City. Sorry if you guys have already heard this before, but I do think it's kind of funny because She went to a school that some of the housewives went to. She went to FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology. That was the school that Sonia Morgan went to. And I think somebody else went there. Did Margaret Josephs? Maybe. I'll have to get back to you on that. But so anyway, she went to college in New York City and she's been there ever since. Now she works for Macy's and she's currently an assistant buyer, but she's about to be promoted to an associate buyer. And again, that's funny because I believe Teresa Giudice was a buyer for Macy's. So yeah, it's funny. So many like little parallels with the housewives there. Anyway, Jade hasn't even been to this new house here. She's been to South Carolina because she visited us at Christmas time, but we were still in the rental. So she hasn't seen our house yet, but she's coming in July. She's coming the beginning of July. So I'm pretty excited about that. The other question about the move came from MG, and they said, I've been wondering if you've gone through much culture shock going from the Midwest to South Carolina. Honestly, not yet, really. There are some things that are different here. Things are a little bit slower paced. I think we've been kind of noticing, but I have to say, like, not really, not yet. Everyone has been extremely friendly, but I don't think they weren't friendly where we came from either. You know, Chicago gets a bad rap. If you're from there and you've lived there, you know that that's kind of an unfair thing. But I just have to say it's been really great. We're so happy here. Oh, you guys, I have to just say this. Our neighbor who lives across the street came over with a pie. Brought us a homemade pie. I mean, that just feels so Southern to me. I don't know. It was just really sweet. I haven't run into anything. I'm just going to say, like, my husband and I are pretty liberal and, you know, we moved to a red state, conservative state. I think there was some trepidation about that or thinking that we wouldn't be welcome, that kind of thing. We've not run into anything like that so far. And also, I should say, there are a lot of new people in Greenville. Greenville has a huge influx of families moving into the area from all over, California, Florida, from like the Northeast, a lot of people coming in, buying houses. So it was extremely hard to buy a house. We had to be very aggressive and act very quickly. And even then, there were I think 3 houses that we bid on and lost before we got this house. So I'm happy to not be going through that anymore. But also because of all these people coming in, not everybody is from the South. So it's kind of, it might not be quite as Southern as like if we were in the lower part of the state, maybe. All right, I'm taking too long with these questions. Let me find a quick one here. Merriman134 asked, have you always enjoyed impersonating people? I mean, you know, I'm not even sure I would say I've always enjoyed it. I've just always done it. I hear someone on a TV show or whatever, and if there's something interesting about the way they talk, I have to repeat it. And also, let me just say this. You guys are very, very kind to me. And you have told me more than once that I'm so good with impersonations. I just have to put this out there. I know that I'm not good at impersonations. And I would hate for anyone to think that this lady thinks she's so good, because I don't. I just do it anyway. I can't help it. But my British accent is horrible. My Diana, I try to talk like this for Diana, but I know this is not the way she really talks. I just have to do it. I don't know. It's like just a thing. So I wouldn't exactly say it's that I enjoy it. I just can't get away from it. Rachel T asked, has your life changed in any way as a result of starting your channel? No, not really. I mean, I think because I have just a very small channel, relatively speaking. I mean, I'm grateful for my subscribers, very much so. But I have about 8,000, a little more than 8,000 subscribers, which is, again, great. And I appreciate every single one of you guys. But in the grand scheme of things, that's a very small YouTuber. So, I mean, it's not like I'm getting recognized in the grocery store or something like that. It's a comfy little place for me, though. I don't really want to be big and famous. I mean, be great to have the money that big YouTubers get. But I don't know. It's kind of cozy for me right here where nobody knows who I am. Where I can say whatever I want about the Housewives and no one's coming after me because I'm too little for that. Speaking of that, I did get another question from Goodfoot. Have any Bravo celebrities confronted you, upset about something you've said in a review? The only time anyone reached out to me was Shane Simpson. Emily Simpson from Orange County, her husband Shane. Shane, not the most likable character in the world. When I saw this email from him, my heart kind of went I was kind of gulp. Because I thought he's going to rip me apart. But here's the thing. He only did it because I had said something critical about Emily. And normally I didn't, because it was the first year of Emily. I loved her. I thought she was a great addition. But there was something, it had something to do with them having more kids. My memory is horrible, you guys. If I think of it, I will link above here the video. I did a video where I read that letter from Shane. So fingers crossed I remember to do this. I'm going to link it up here. But I thought it was pretty cool that the only time, if he was watching enough to know that I said something about Emily, then he knows I said a lot of things about him too. Never reached out to me until he wanted to clarify something that explained Emily's actions, So I thought that was pretty cool. Oh, his sister, Shireen. Is that her name? Anyway, she, I think, subscribed to my channel, and she has a couple times commented and, laughed at stuff I did and liked my channel. So that was pretty cool. I think that's it. The only other thing I guess I will mention is that Dorinda, when she got off of the show, she started doing her own recap YouTube channel, and someone named Dorinda commented on one of my videos and just said, wow. And some of you guys are like, that's her, that's her. I'm still not sure that wasn't just somebody else, but possibly Dorinda Medley saw my video. Otherwise, no, like I said, I'm too small for that, I think. Janet G asked, have you worked outside the home and doing what? And then somebody else had asked if I have a job outside of the home too. I don't. Right after high school, I went to beauty school and became a licensed cosmetologist. I did that for, I don't know, a handful of years. And then since then, I had kept up my license. I think every 2 years you had to re-up your license, and you had to have certain credit hours of class and stuff like that. So I kept that up for quite a while after I was no longer even working in a salon, until it was finally they just want money. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm never going to do this for a living other than, I cut my husband's hair and that's about it. So yeah, I stopped. I quit that job and went to work at a law firm for a while. And I worked there until I had my daughter, and then I was a stay-at-home mom. Then when she got a little bit older, I worked part-time for an accountant, for a couple of different accountants, just doing actually, this started off because the mother of one of Jade's friends and I became friends, and her husband was an accountant, and she's like, he needs someone to come in and organize his office. And I'm like, oh, that is the kind of thing I love, to organize papers and file things. And he actually hired me just to organize his office. And then after a while, it turned into he had to go somewhere, and so he would ask me to answer the phones, and that just turned into I really did a whole bunch of other stuff for him. I just have to mention this because this is kind of funny. This kind of speaks to me with the voices in a way. He got a phone call once from a client who was just very irate, screaming and yelling at me and all this, telling me all this stuff. So when he came back from, I don't know where he was, lunch or whatever, maybe he had an appointment or something. When he came back, he asked if there were any calls. And so I started to tell him about this guy. I'm doing his voice and everything. And he stops me and he goes, Jill, don't act it out. Just tell me what he said. That's my life, you guys. I'm happy to be somewhere now where someone appreciates that I will act something out. But no, I haven't done anything outside the home. And in fact, starting with YouTube kind of came about while I was babysitting, and the kid I was babysitting for after school always wanted to be on YouTube and watching these like unboxing videos, watching other kids unbox toys and everything, which to me I would think would be like total FOMO, but I don't know, there was something just very satisfying about watching somebody else open something. And I started to realize, yeah, I was kind of interested too. Like, oh, what's it going to be, or what's she going to get? And so I learned that there's a whole genre of unboxing videos. There's people that do that all the time. And that's kind of what I started doing. I started it just for fun. And then I also started it because, you know, my husband worked full time. My daughter's now in college. And I just really wanted a hobby to do to keep me busy. And that's what this is. So this turned into recapping Housewives because my daughter and I, like when my daughter was home for the summer with my daughters from Bridget, and we would just like watch the Housewives. And my daughter and I both really kind of just, I told you before, like I just do the voices because I don't know why, it just something I do. So we were watching New York and the taglines came on and I was doing Ramona and I'm like a fine wine? I just get better with time. And then we would just like crack up laughing and my daughter would do a voice and we would laugh so much. And one time Bridget said, that's what you should do on your YouTube channel. And I'm like, what? The housewife voices? And she goes, you should recap a housewife episode. I didn't even know that was a thing. So I started doing it. And the rest is history. Okay, let me try to do quick ones again. I'm so sorry, you guys. Jen G, what music do you like and why? Okay, I was just listening to somebody, maybe it was on a podcast, talk about this, about how the music that you like is usually the music you listened to when you were like in your 20s and 30s. And then that just kind of sticks with you throughout. So for me, I am totally a new wave punk girl. Give me Depeche Mode, give me The Cure, give me Talking Heads, The Smiths. My favorite song ever in the world is How Soon Is Now by The Smiths. I love Nirvana. I love B-52s, New Order, The Waitresses, Psychedelic Furs. Like those were all those 80s kind of bands. And then too, like I love the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. I love David Bowie. I love Elton John. And there's a bunch of songs I like, current songs that are out right now that, on the radio. So that's my go-to stuff that I love. Okay, she also asked, what self-care routine? This is hilarious because you seem so balanced and well-adjusted. I feel like my family would have to disagree. So yeah, I mean, as far as being balanced and well-adjusted, I've been in therapy for most of my adult life. I think if you can find the right person, and that's not always easy. I know sometimes it can be hard. And if you don't have the right therapist, you might think this doesn't work for me. I would just say keep trying, because when you do find the right person, it helps. It really does help. Shout out to Lori. I think she got me through a lot of like this move and other, big stuff that was happening in my life throughout the last, 3 or 4 years that I've been seeing her. So, yeah. The rest of like my self-care is making sure I don't overdo anything. As much as I want to recap every show and every show you guys are talking about, Dubai, I haven't even gotten a chance to watch The Housewives of Dubai yet, but I would love to recap that. I found my sweet spot to be like one a week, maybe two if they're overlapping, but even that makes me almost too busy for the week because I want to have days off that I can spend with my husband. And now that he's retired, I want to do stuff with him. I want to go for hikes and I want to go ride my bike with him and stuff like that. It's important to me that I like balance those things. I know I pretend that I'm doing God's work by watching the Housewives so that you guys don't have to. But the reality is it's all, nothing's that important. And I don't want to get burned out. I want to keep doing this. And I want to like consistently put out videos without getting burned out and then, quitting altogether. So, okay. And she also asked, if you could have any job you want, what would it be? Okay, this is funny because I love TV. I think it can be educational. I think it's entertaining. I think it's, there's so much out there that's interesting. So I have always said, if only somebody would pay me to watch TV, that would be the perfect job for me. So, I kind of have it. Not that I'm making, a ton of money here, but I kind of get paid to watch the Housewives now. So that's pretty cool. The other job I think that I've always thought would be like a super awesome job is to be paid to travel. That I would love, fly to other countries and just check out the whole world. There's so much that I haven't seen that I would love to. So maybe I would say travel. Okay, Princess Francois asked, what does your daughter and husband think of your YouTube channel? They must love it. And she also said, will your daughter still watch Real Housewives of Potomac? And maybe you could recap the new season. Again, I kind of wish I could. I would love to. We'll see. To me now, it depends on what's on and what shows will overlap or what one's coming on next so that I can kind of stick with like just one show a week. Maybe it'll work out that I can do Potomac. I don't know. As far as will my daughter still watch it? Yes, that's her favorite franchise by far. I can't tell you how many times she will work into conversation. You got to make millions to owe millions. Or what was the other thing? Karen Huger is debt-free and loaded. You'd be surprised how many times she can work that into a conversation. Oh, and what do my daughter and husband think of my YouTube channel? I'm so lucky because I think my family has always been supportive of me doing this. Even my siblings and, my whole extended family, I think they get a kick out of it. My daughter thinks it's fun that I do this, I think. My husband always tells people that, my wife has a YouTube channel. So I think he thinks it's kind of fun. He's a very creative person too. He's a singer-songwriter. He's been in bands his whole life. So he has a very creative brain. So I think he thinks it's cool and kind of creative of me. My siblings, I think they don't quite understand it, but I do think they kind of get a kick out of it. Okay, hairdresser, I did not forget. You had asked me once before, what toner did my stylist put on my highlights? And I told you I would find out the next time I saw her. Well, I found out for you. The brand is Keune. It's Keune. And the color she used is 8.17 light ash violet blonde. So there you go. JP Rob would like to know, which former housewife would you like to see return and which current housewife would you like to see gone? Okay, the first thing that comes to my mind for a housewife that I would like to see return is Alex McCord. Alex and Simon and their two little French sons, Francois and Jacques, I don't know what the other kid's name was. They were so bizarre and awkward. They lived in Brooklyn. And I remember at one point, like, Ramona didn't even want to go all the way out to Brooklyn. She was so snooty about that. And they're just very different, strange, and I loved it. It was part of my falling in love with The Real Housewives of New York. That was always my number one show. And you guys, it just kind of imploded now. It's crazy. Am I hearing right? Are they going to do like a classic with like maybe year one ladies and another one with like a younger generation? I don't know. That might work, actually. Because it definitely didn't work when they had Leah and Ebony trying to get along with these older ladies, and it just was bad. So for some weird reason, Alex McCord was the first one that came to mind. Although she's never going to do it. They live in Australia now, I think. Other than her, I guess I would say Dorinda. Even though I think Dorinda needed to go when she did, she needed to take care of her health. I miss her. I think she brought a ton to that show. As far as what current housewife do I want gone, I don't know. That one's hard. I don't know. At first I was going to say anybody who doesn't have their own stuff to talk about, but that's not even true for me because Rinna never has her own storyline. Margaret rarely has her own storyline. Yet these are two women that I do not want to not see anymore. They bring so much to the show by kind of playing a role, a villain or somebody who's really kind of stirring the pot, you know? I like that. I love my villains too. I don't want them gone. I don't want Teresa gone. That one I feel very conflicted about because in a way I feel like, Teresa, you don't deserve this. You should be gone. But on the other hand, oh, she's kind of right. It is the Teresa show. Look at last season. If she didn't have a wackadoo boyfriend and she wasn't a wackadoo herself, what would this whole season have been? Melissa never has anything to talk about. Margaret didn't. Jackie, I mean, you know. I think it's wonderful that Jackie was open about her eating disorder, and if it could help anybody, even if it helped one person, that's amazing and wonderful. But it's not what we want out of like a Housewives show. It's not like juicy stuff to make fun of. Jennifer's good too. She gets messy, you know, and Dolores I like, but she's not super messy herself either. But anyway, I can't pick someone I want gone. I will just say the most boring. El Val asked, "Are you still doing your walks?" No, I really got off track a lot with the move. I try to exercise, but now you know what? It's really hot here, so I don't get out every day to go walking. But yeah, I want to get back to that. Also asks, which franchise is your favorite? This might sound like a cop-out, but ever since New York imploded, I feel like my favorite is the one that I'm recapping at the time. It was New Jersey, and now it's Beverly Hills. I get into it. I love the show. I love watching it because I find it so humorous, and I'm always thinking it's fun and funny. And yeah, I get frustrated with the ladies sometimes. And there are things that aren't funny. Racism, not funny. So yeah, we get into some topics that aren't so fun. But for the most part, I always do find something that amuses me, that just, I don't know, hits me in a certain way. That usually whatever I'm recapping at the time, I'm loving it. And the last question they had was, which housewife do I most identify with? None. In real life, I am the antithesis of a real housewife. I would be sick to my stomach if I had to be that confrontational with someone. No, I can't do it. It would be horrible. I would be on the sidelines with Teddy and Bambi. I would love to be housewife adjacent, actually. To get to go on all the trips but not be on camera. I'd love it. ACM asked, what are my favorite YouTube channels? What do I like to do where I live? What is your favorite food? Would you go to it if you were invited to a Bravo event? Top 5 Housewives also, how are you? Oh, that was cute. Thank you. I'm good. Thank you. That's a sweet question. To answer, I can't answer the top 5 Housewives. I can't pick. It's like picking your favorite kid. It really is. I like housewives that create drama even when they're villains. So I know you guys don't like that, but, you know, Teresa would have to be up there. Rinna would have to be up there. Erica. These are not ladies I want to be friends with in real life. These are just ladies that I like to watch. I find interesting. Okay, my favorite YouTube channels. You guys aren't gonna. I like the weirdest stuff on YouTube. One thing, somebody asked about my hobbies too. What hobbies do I have? Nails are one of my hobbies, and I have, for the first time, I have tried polygel. So that's what I have going on here. I don't know if you can see. Let me see if I can focus that in. Can you see? Okay, so I haven't had long nails on in a long time now. I took a long break from that. With moving, packing, and everything, I was breaking my nails, and I'm like, all right, just give your nails a rest, take care of business, get back to it. So this is the first time I'm trying that. This is fun to me. It's creative, you know, nail art and painting my nails and creating either acrylic nails or gel nails. Like, I don't know. I love it. So whenever I get a chance, I kind of like to do that. That's my hobby. And I watch a lot of nail videos. I also watch a couple of videos now where girls live alone in their cars. I'm fascinated by that because it feels terrifying to me. But, you know, if they do it, and they've got tips on like where to spend the night and stuff like that. And Katie Carney is the first girl like that I saw. She's got whole videos on like her nighttime routine, how she like pins up towels and stuff to cover the windows in her car. And I don't know. I'm fascinated by that. I'm also fascinated by watching a guy who takes old rusty. I know you guys think this is insane. You wanted to know the real me, so here we go. This is a guy who takes old rusty things and refurbishes them and makes them look like new. I like those. Karen Puzzles, a girl who does jigsaw puzzles. I watch her. So kind of crazy things like that. Oh, and I used to watch a lot of planner girl videos because I was kind of into that whole thing. I'm obsessed with stationery and school supplies, always have been. It's something that everyone in my family has the same thing. Well, the women in my family, my siblings and nieces and my daughter, we just, I don't know, love stickers and washi tape and pens and markers and a whole thing. So my daughter actually first got me into like having a planner, like a weekly planner that you decorate with, like I said, stickers and washi tape and everything. And then I really got into it much more than she ever did. So I watch a lot of those videos too. Favorite food is pizza. And oh, you guys, I'm going through some withdrawal here. South Carolina just hasn't quite figured it out for me. But, you know, we're trying. We're trying different places. And there's a place, Marco's, that has a decent thin crust. And we've kind of resigned ourselves to, like, this is probably as good as it's going to get for us. And, but, yeah, that's okay. As far as if I would go to a Bravo event if I was invited, I mean, sure, I think I would go, unless I had to perform or something. Like some of you guys have always said, oh, you should be a bartender on Watch What Happens Live. No, too scary. I could not do that. I can't even do a live video. I did one and I was like so nervous. I couldn't. Because then you're kind of in somebody's face with like your impersonation of them. And I'm not good enough to like do somebody, like impersonate someone exactly right. So I kind of do, an over exaggerated version of them, which is not always flattering. And so, yeah, I don't want to confront anybody. That's just for us. Okay, I think that's almost everything. I'll do one more. Mark L. asks, do you think they're trying to run Sutton off the show? I mean, it doesn't look great. I talked about this in my last video. I definitely think that Erica and Rinna are trying to, at the very least, they are trying to drive a wedge between Sutton and Crystal. And, you know, they're already having a problem. So everybody weighing in on that now. And I mean, for a while there, I didn't know if they were trying to run Crystal off the show because it wasn't looking too good for her. But now, I mean, yeah, kind of. The thing is with Sutton, I think Garcelle will always have Sutton's back. And I don't really see Dorit as being so much an instigator in like driving someone off the show, but definitely Rinna and Erica and maybe Kyle. But I don't think, but Kyle's taking Sutton's side right now. So I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see. It doesn't necessarily have to be that every single other woman wants one woman gone. But if things get bad enough for Sutton, she won't want to come back, which is kind of, I guess, the goal. I mean, obviously, if Sutton is saying racist things, then she doesn't deserve to be on TV. But it's just so unclear whether she really is or not. So, yeah, I don't know. All right, guys, I've taken up way too much of your time. Thank you for, you know, your interest in me. I think that's really cool. And I do understand, like, this feeling that you have, like, that you kind of know me or that we would be friends in real life if we knew each other. I get it. I do that with other YouTubers. I kind of get that feeling. And it's cool. It makes me feel good that even though we don't agree all the time, that's okay. We can still be friends. So anyway, thanks so much. And if you have any more questions or if anything I said today makes you think of another question, then go ahead and leave it in the comments down below. And I'll do, like I said before, I'll do like one or two questions at the end of my recaps, if you guys think that's a good idea. And yeah, that's it. I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.